The recent completion of a multi-week maintenance period for the U.S. Navy's Virginia-class attack submarine USS Vermont at HMAS Stirling in Western Australia represents far more than a routine servicing stop. It is an operational and political milestone that demonstrates how rapidly the AUKUS framework is transforming from a strategic concept into tangible cooperation in the undersea domain. For Australia, which aims to become the first non-nuclear weapons state to operate nuclear-powered submarines, the event acted as a full-scale stress test of its ability to host, support, and eventually sustain one of the most complex weapons platforms in the modern world. For the United States and the United Kingdom, the maintenance period offers confidence that their partner is moving at credible speed toward the nuclear stewardship standards required for future Submarine Rotational Force West operations. USS Vermont arrived at HMAS Stirling in late October for what Australian officials described as a significantly more demanding package of work than the 2023 trial activity. Unlike that earlier visit, which focused on preliminary assessments and basic interoperability, this year's engagement involved genuine, high-tempo maintenance on a frontline nuclear-powered submarine. Importantly, it was directed by Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard and Intermediate Maintenance Facility, which effectively exported some of its nuclear submarine sustainment processes to Australian soil. The presence of U.S. maintainers, British specialists, and an expanding team of Australian technicians symbolizes the growing tripartite ecosystem underpinning AUKUS cooperation. For Australia, these weeks were about proving not only that procedures can be followed, but that the country can meet the nuclear safety, quality assurance, and industrial discipline required to support U.S. and future Royal Australian Navy SSNs. USS Vermont is a particularly appropriate platform for demonstrating this evolution. As the lead boat of the Block IV series of the Virginia class, it encapsulates many of the design optimizations that define the U.S. Navy's current approach to attack submarine maintenance. Delivered and commissioned in April 2020, Vermont is one of the newer units in the SSN fleet and has already accumulated significant operational experience. Its 7-month deployment to the Western Pacific earlier in 2025 gave engineers and the crew a fresh reference baseline to validate the procedures implemented in Western Australia. In other words, its systems, sensors, and propulsion plant had been tested recently under real operational stress, making it an ideal case for determining how much work an Allied base can shoulder without degrading combat readiness. From a technical perspective, Vermont embodies the capabilities that make the Virginia-class central to U.S. undersea strategy in the Indo-Pacific. At 115 meters long with a near 10-meter beam and displacing roughly 7,900 tons submerged, these submarines strike a balance between global endurance and the ability to operate in literal environments, precisely the types of waters where regional tensions are intensifying. Its S-9G nuclear reactor, designed to last more than 3 decades without refueling, underscores why Australia must develop infrastructure capable of supporting a platform whose core cannot simply be opened or replaced. Its pumpjet propulsion and acoustic stealth technologies further demonstrate why the U.S. Navy entrusts Virginius with some of its most sensitive undersea missions. Vermont's payload complements this strategic profile. The Block IV configuration includes 2 Virginia payload tubes accommodating up to 12 Tomahawk cruise missiles, giving a single submarine the ability to strike land targets more than 1,000 miles away. With 4 533mm torpedo tubes supporting Mk-48 heavyweight torpedoes and encapsulated anti-ship weapons, the platform maintains a flexible, multi-domain strike capability. The N/BYG-1 combat system integrates advanced sonar arrays, electronic warfare sensors, and an optronic mast to create an information dominance environment that allows the submarine to detect, track, and engage targets at long range. For Australia, hosting a vessel with such reach presents a tangible demonstration of the type of capability it expects to inherit in the 2030s. It also signals to regional observers that Canberra is preparing to embed long-range maritime strike operations into its defense posture. The maintenance period itself reveals deeper strategic implications. Block IV Virginias were designed to reduce the number of major depot-level overhauls from 4 to 3 across their service life. This maintenance reduction philosophy relies heavily on the ability to conduct high-quality intermediate work at Allied bases rather than returning boats to the United States for every significant task. HMAS Stirling's role in sustaining Vermont therefore becomes a proof of concept not only for future rotational deployments but also for the larger ambition of supporting Australian crewed SSNs based in Western Australia. The integration of Australian divers, engineers, technicians, and nuclear-trained officers, 13 of whom were embedded in Vermont's roughly 130-person crew, illustrates the practical, on-the-job transfer of knowledge that AUKUS requires. For Australian personnel, this was not a passive observation exercise. They were expected to participate in defect diagnostics, corrective actions, and the rigorous certification routines inherent to nuclear stewardship. This hands-on involvement is essential because Australia must soon demonstrate that its own technicians and operators can manage the complexities of a nuclear propulsion plant, adhere to US and UK safety standards, and protect the integrity of sensitive industrial systems. Each successful evolution reduces political and technical uncertainty about whether Australia can meet these expectations within the ambitious AUKUS timeline. Under AUKUS Pillar I, the United States and United Kingdom plan to begin rotating nuclear-powered attack submarines through Western Australia by 2027. The long-term vision includes transferring at least 3 Virginia-class boats to Australia in the 2030s, followed by the introduction of the trilaterally designed SSN AUKUS class. For this roadmap to hold, Australia must build robust nuclear support infrastructure, enhance industrial security, and cultivate a trained workforce capable of handling the world's most sophisticated undersea platforms. The Vermont maintenance operation shows that progress is not only occurring but accelerating. For Washington and London, these steps reinforce a strategic undersea presence in the eastern Indian Ocean and the Indo-Pacific's western approaches. The ability to sustain operations from Australia shortens response times, increases rotational availability, and signals long-term commitment to regional stability. It also communicates to potential adversaries, most notably China, that AUKUS is no longer a distant vision but an operational reality with concrete military implications. In practical terms, the Vermont maintenance period is both a technical success and a strategic message. It demonstrates that Allied undersea cooperation can be carried out responsibly, safely, and efficiently on Australian territory. It shows that Australia is maturing rapidly in its ability to handle nuclear-powered submarines. And it confirms that AUKUS is transitioning from political declarations to real, operational depth. As the Indo-Pacific continues to reshape itself around new strategic realities, the USS Vermont's stay at HMAS Stirling offers a clear glimpse of what the future regional naval balance will look like, more integrated, more distributed, and increasingly underpinned by a trilateral partnership whose center of gravity is slowly but steadily shifting toward Australia.